Good evening, everybody. I just want to say thank you for being here. And I want to start by asking how many of you have ever experienced the feeling that there's something wrong with me? Raise your hand, please. Yeah. So, what I'm going to talk about this evening is how this idea, this belief that I had for so many years that there's something wrong with me, how it impacted my life, and how it's a common theme that is interwoven throughout my journey, and how it served to shape the way that I saw myself, my life, and the possibilities for my future. So, for the first few years of my life, I was the only child. My parents had just gotten married, and we were living in a small little two-bedroom apartment on the central coast of California. And as you can imagine, I was the pride and joy of the family, right? I was this beautiful, blonde-haired, blue-eyed baby boy. And to this day, my mother still talks about how I was just so cute and how she just loved me so much. Well, around the age of 2.5, my little brother was born. And my mother tells me that I wasn't very happy about that. In fact, I told her that I didn't want to have a brother. Well, shortly after he was born, I began to pick on him. Around the time he was 1.5, started to tease him, be mean to him. I started to get yelled at by mommy and daddy for doing that. I started to think that I was a bad boy. And not only that, but my mother and my father stopped getting along too. One of the first memories that I have is I was sitting on the floor. I couldn't have been more than 4 or 5, and mommy and daddy, they were yelling at each other. They're being mean to each other. And they were being so loud, and I was scared, and I didn't understand what was going on, but I knew something was wrong. Well, around the age of 5, my mother decided to divorce my dad. He'd become controlling, he was emotionally abusive towards her, and she decided that she couldn't take it anymore. I'll never forget the day that we left. As we were rolling out of the driveway, I could still see Daddy just standing there watching us go and being sad. Why are we leaving Daddy? Where are we going? I didn't understand. But me and my brother, we moved in with my mother. We went to Virginia. And for the next few years, I kind of bounced back and forth between my mom and my dad because they couldn't really decide who was going to keep me. There had been some things going on. I had some behavioral issues. They started drinking, and there was a lot going on. But around 5th grade, it was decided that I would go back to Virginia. Now, I want to ask you guys, how many of you here can look back on your life and you remember a specific grade or a time in like junior high, high school, elementary school, but one particular grade that stands out above the rest as like that was like one of your favorite grades? Because for me, that was 5th grade. And for the first time, I truly felt like I fit in. I felt accepted by these people. And as a matter of fact, I was actually popular for whatever that means for like a 12-year-old 5th grade kid, right? I had a lot of friends, both boys and girls. And one thing that I want to ask you guys is how many people here can remember their very first crush? Raise your hand, please. Yeah, me too. And I remember her clearly. Her name was Stephanie. And this girl was the most beautiful girl I had ever seen. You know, coming into 5th grade, I had been going through a bit of a rough time. And this girl it was like the light broke in and started shining. I couldn't stop thinking about her every single day. It was like I couldn't wait to go to school just to see her. I would always try to grab a seat next to her. And she was really nice to me. And we would talk and we would hang out at recess sometime on the playground. And I started to have this belief that, you know, she might like me too. And I even went as far as thinking that maybe she might be my girlfriend. Right? Well, one day I was swinging on the swing set at recess. I was by myself, and I heard my name called from behind me. So I got off the swing, and I turned around, and Stephanie was standing right there with a couple girls from class. And she began to make fun of me. She began to humiliate me publicly there were other girls from class there. Some way, somehow, she found out that I had a crush on her. And she began to embarrass me and humiliate me in front of other people. It was publicly. Now, this was a while ago, so I don't remember exactly what she said. But I'll never forget the way that that situation made me feel. I felt worthless. I was embarrassed. I felt ashamed of myself. I don't even think I said a word. I think I just stood there frozen in fear. It was like my worst nightmare had come true. Not only was the girl that I was in love with making fun of me for having a crush on her, but at that point in time, I truly began to believe that there really was something wrong.